Test one, two. Test, test, test. I lost my friend Lucy to addiction in August of 2023. Lucy's parents lost their daughter in August of 2023. Lucy's brother lost his sister to addiction. Lucy's friends lost an amazing, kind soul. The world lost a beautiful artist, a writer, a friend, a sister, a companion, a cat mom. The recovery world lost a warrior, an advocate, a champion, and Lucy lost her fight. Today, I want to celebrate Lucy, but also highlight the fact that we are the lucky ones. We get to try things again. We get a second chance, or maybe a third, perhaps a fourth. But we get a chance. Today's for you, Lucy. Lucy loved honeybees. She loved everything about them. She wrote poems about them. She loved everything black and yellow. It was one of those things that really spoke to her. Nature was so important to her, and she was inspired by what honeybees can accomplish, their importance in the environment and pollinating the growth of bushes and flowers and other trees. She loved bees, and I love that about her. So I was researching bees in general, but specifically honeybees. And one of the most significant things about honeybees is that they are social creatures. Obviously, they live in hives. Everyone has a job within the hive, but every article that I read or the Wikipedia page specifically mentioned how social bees are and how important that is to their survival. So that got me really thinking about the social aspect of humans and how common it is in my conversations with recovering alcoholics and addicts that we tend to isolate, whether that is at the beginning of our addiction or when we're in the throes of it. A common occurrence is that we tend to isolate ourselves from our family and friends, and we take away that social aspect of our lives. And we often hear that the opposite of addiction is not recovery or sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. And as human beings, we not only seek out interaction and connection with other human beings, but it's really a necessity for both our physical being, but more importantly, our mental being, our spiritual being. So I wanted to touch on that today as well. I talked to Lucy several times about coming on the podcast and sharing her story. I had heard Lucy share it numerous times in the rooms of our 12-step fellowship, which is initially where I met Lucy and developed our friendship. When I met her, she had been sober for about 5 years and continued to be. sober in the beginning of my own recovery journey. We were often at meetings together for several years. But over the last, hmm, but in the last year or so leading up to Lucy's death, she was again using and struggling with her addiction. And she had graduated to different substances that she hadn't really used in the past, or at least not on a regular basis, which I think really speaks to um, the progressive nature of our disease. Hey, recovery warriors. I wanted to introduce a new way to connect with you, our amazing community, and the reason I turn on the microphone week after week and create episodes that inspire hope for those affected by addiction. We created a voicemail line for your recovery questions, issues you may be having with your journey, mental health concerns, or sobriety tips and tricks for others. Any and all of the above. Hey, you could even just call to say hi. We will be incorporating these into some upcoming episodes, and this is a way for you to contribute hope to our listeners. I absolutely love hearing from you guys, so please utilize this feature to add your voice to our show. Talk soon. Call 707-385-1595 to leave us your message today. That's 707-385-1595, or check today's show notes for a direct link. I asked a very special friend of mine to join me and discuss some of her memories about Lucy. This is a best friend of mine. This individual introduced me to Lucy. She was a rock for Lucy in good times and in bad. She got the phone call when Lucy had passed and has had ups and downs since then. Lucy was a big part of her life in recovery, and I thought it would be special for her to share some of her memories and some of Lucy's challenges with us to offer hope. So I had a quick phone conversation with my bestie and Lucy's bestie. This is my friend, Kelsey. Kelsey, I love you. How's your day going?
My love, it's going great. It's so good to hear your voice. For those of you listening, Nate and I have a thing that we do because Bill W. used to call his wife his darling girl.
Yes, darling girl.
And then so you call me your darling girl, and I call you my darling boy, because we watched the Bill W. movie together.
We
it was
sure
so
did.
touching.
And as an addition to that story, we went to, wait, was it Bill W.'s house or Dr. Bob's in Akron?
Dr. Bob's
Yes.
house.
Yes. We went to Founders Day. Yes.
Oh, amazing.
It was. It was in early recovery. We were like bright-eyed and ready to tackle the world, and we did it all. It was a good trip.
We did 90 and 90. We did Founders Day. We did Leads. We were killing it.
We were. And I say often, our recovery routines may change. People may not use the rooms like we did, but I think one of the constants in recovery is the people that you surround yourself with. And I can truly say that I would not be sober without you.
Oh my God, Nate. Our journey, I'm so speechless over how God put us together, or the universe, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, before we stopped drinking, and then we stopped drinking in the same year.
Yes.
And our lives are saved. And it was all part of it, watching you drink after I got sober.
Yes.
Was part of the whole process for me to quietly just be an example of there is hope,
Yes. And I've said it before on this podcast that, you did it in the most perfect way as we're taught in the rooms, and it's attraction rather than promotion. You never shamed, the fact that I was still drinking. You never insisted that I come to a meeting. You, like you said, quietly suggested it, and were just an example of the possibility of what life could be and what life didn't have to be anymore. And
you said it.
gosh, what a journey we've been on, right?
Right. And, when I was watching you drink when I was newly sober, I was so recently right in your shoes.
Yeah.
I knew if I said anything to you, it doesn't make a difference. We all know how it works. It's a disease. It's not something you're talked out of.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And, I've in this episode been talking about Lucy, someone else that we met early on, you before I did, and you introduced me. I remember meeting Lucy in my apartment in Hilliard when I first got Dash. So I was still drinking. You guys were, freshly to meetings, and I've kind of just been touching on some of the things that I remember best about Lucy. You guys certainly had a closer relationship than I did, but I think part of the things that we take away from these relationships that we build are the impact that people have had on our lives. And I know that it's hard to put into words, but what are some of those things that you remember best about Lucy, or things that she taught you?
Oh, I love that. Well, I met Lucy at my first surrender meeting. I had gone to a couple other meetings, but this was the real deal,
Yeah.
And so I met her right away, and she was there when I got out of treatment, and we went to meetings together constantly, and we became really close, and I didn't have kids yet, and we could just hang. Lucy had been in a treatment center for a year, a program which was amazing, which she spoke of frequently in meetings.
Yeah.
And what she learned there was invaluable and so insightful. And I think that she helped so many people with her words at meetings from her experience. There's so many things that I think about that she said to me that are such important lessons or rules to live by. Like she always said, 5 feet in front of you. And so when I get overwhelmed with the entire day, what do I have to do 5 feet in front of me?
Yes.
What's going on right here? She also talked about how the Christmas that she was in treatment or in the hospital from overdosing was the best Christmas of her life because the jig was up and she was finally honest. I think about that a lot. She had so many words of wisdom. What strikes me so much is that I could be Lucy, you could be Lucy,
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't when you are in the rooms or in recovery, this is a thing that's going to happen. You're going to lose people you love, and you don't know who it's going to be. And it could be anybody. It could be someone who you think has the most perfect program, because this is an insidious disease, cutting, baffling, and powerful.
Yes.
So whenever I saw Lucy struggle, which she struggled so much, I just knew that life was so hard for her. Life is so hard for me, how I feel with my struggles, and it was that much harder for her, and I just had such compassion for that, and I felt so bad for her. And anyone who, goes to judge someone like that, nobody wants to be in a place where they can't take a shower, or can't get out of bed. Like, nobody wants that. That's how depressed she was,
Yes.
But more about Lucy, I just want to make sure that I convey that she was an amazing artist.
Yes.
At meetings, she would do sketches. she would always be searching for more information and to be evolving. When I went through her belongings after she passed, there was just quotes everywhere and books full of things that were uplifting that she found places and art and then plans to make her apartment a home with all kinds of organizational things. She could never get there, but she had grand plans. Like, she looked forward to that stuff. Like, that was the real Lucy, you know, without her disease in a way and her mental illness. That was her. And she was an incredibly faithful friend. She called me all the time, and she kept in touch with me, and she's been such an important part of my life, and I'm so thankful.
I know that she adored you, and I think that you each had, a way with one another. I think other people may have been annoyed that Lucy, couldn't snap out of it or called or texted a lot. But I think, you at times were in a place where you kind of wanted or needed that connection. And I think you guys just played off of each other so perfectly. It was really a beautiful, relationship to see, two people brought together by addiction, but, flourish in a friendship otherwise. I think it was really beautiful. And I think it's also important, you were talking about the disease side of things, to mention the progressive nature of our disease, because at the end, she had turned to other substances that perhaps weren't an issue for her early on or at another time in her addiction. So, it's not something that we beat, I think it is the point I think that I'm trying to make there.
Yeah, I mean, that part of AA, wake up and admit I'm an alcoholic and I'm powerless over alcohol every day. Yeah, that part is powerful. I mean, I don't even try to lie to myself to say that I beat addiction. No. I feel like an addict all day, every day, thinking about my next meal and my next, purchase. I am an addict. I was born this way, and I've more so come now to be gentler with myself. Just like Oprah recently said, that she stopped punishing herself for being overweight. It's not her fault. It's a disease. Even my days where I'm pessimistic and down, I have a brain disease, and part of it led to the alcoholism, and part of it is anxiety and depression. And because of that, I can't operate like a neurotypical person,
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Be gentle, be easy with yourself. You mentioned Lucy as an artist. I think, she was an artist in the true sense of the word. I think she was an artist with her words and the way that she told a story. I am reading a portion of, her essay or the words that we each have on our black and yellow paper, so people can get a feel for, the type of artist that she was. I think it's, she's, greatly missed, and she for sure has left a place on our hearts.
Absolutely. And I think so often, unfortunately, it's only after someone's gone that you realize how profoundly whatever they were. And Lucy was a profoundly talented writer.
Yes.
I knew she was a great artist, but when she wrote this piece about addiction a couple days before she died and posted it on Facebook, and it's stirring, the way she describes it and the fight. And I also think it was very striking that in that piece, it's all about not giving up. And even though she was in a desperate place, she was still a couple days before her death posting about not giving up,
Yeah.
If I was living how she was living, no way, no how would I have any faith left. I mean, I have a ton of complaints and I have a perfect life.
Yes.
But I did want to share one thing. She wrote a letter to Kip, my firstborn child, before he was born. And when I read it originally, it was beautiful. But now I'm so stunned by the way that her mind thought, the way she looked at things. Goes back to her being an artist. She saw everything as art.
Right.
But just a couple parts of this. Dear baby, first of all, welcome. You don't know me yet, but your mommy is one of my best friends. I'm a little in shock about you being here. I mean, it's like the best magic trick ever. Something out of nothing. Not just something. You being born is ridiculously awesome. Words can't even begin to describe how excited I am to meet you, hold you, and watch you grow and tell you how amazing your mom is. Your mom means so much to me, and I'm not sure I could navigate these waters of life without her. She truly is a special person. You chose well. And then she goes through all these lessons about you are loved and how you need to remember that you're going to be good at a lot of things. They might not be the things you want to be good at, but embrace it. No one is normal, not a single one of us, but all are just pretending so we can fit into a group. What makes that group so amazing is how hilariously different, fascinating, and quirky everyone is. So don't worry too much about being normal if you can help it. Then she writes about a grateful heart is a happy heart. Even if there are times you can only find one thing to be happy about or grateful for, and it's a perfectly iced cookie. It's cool, but always try to find that one thing. It's okay to be sad. It will happen, even though I hope it will never happen to you. When I get sad, I get mad at myself for feeling sad, so I'm left feeling sad and mad. Don't do that. Sadness is like a wave. You have to let it wash over you. Someone said that to me. I would never say something that cliche, but seriously, let it wash over you. It's important to remember that when you are underwater, you'll always come to see the surface again. Nothing lasts forever. But for now, enjoy being carried around. That stuff is amazing. You have a while before you have to think about this stuff to talk. But when you can talk, if you ever want to talk, I'm here for you. We don't even have to talk about anything deep. We can just eat a perfectly iced cookie or two. Love, always, Lucy. I mean, what a beautiful person.
So beautiful. Yeah.
It's just so beautiful. And that she took the time that she wanted to share those sentiments with this human that she never met, because it was my human.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It really is. She used words a lot, and I think she appreciated words. Kels, if you could say just a few more words to Lucy, what would you say?
No, Lucy, thank you so much for being the bestest friend. You are perfect, and I hope you are at peace.
I think it helps us to appreciate even more what we do have. Kels, you're one of those people that really changed my life, and I love you so much. Thank you for doing this.
Oh, neat. I love you so much. It's so easy to get caught up with everything going on all the time, but when you have a friend like you and a family like mine, it's these people in my life that God places there, the universe or your higher power, that make it all worth it.
Yes. Amen.
Amen.
Hey, podcasters, are you ready to turn up the volume on your podcast? Let's talk about taking your show from just okay to unforgettable. I'm Nate Kelly, creator and host of the Sobriety Diaries and founder of PodStudio, a full service podcast production studio. And we're looking for a select few hosts who are ready to level up your podcast and scale your brand. Whether you're a seasoned host or just getting started, our team specializes in production and editing, as well as marketing that gets your message heard and creates lasting partnerships that, you guessed it, can monetize your show. Audio is king. So we'll start by making sure your episodes sound crisp, your message is crystal clear, and your audience growing with every episode. We offer different packages and service levels to fit any budget and guarantee our results. Head over to podcastnate.com/services or click the link in today's show notes for more information, and we'll see you on the charts. I mentioned in the beginning of the episode that we are the lucky ones. We are the luckiest. And I'm so grateful that I've been given this second opportunity and that I'm now able to share others' stories in hopes that it will spark something in others. And, I've mentioned many times on this show that I did start my recovery journey with a 12-step program. I have since added different things and my recovery has evolved a bit. I know Lucy often struggled with some parts of a 12-step program. So I wanted to provide some resources today outside of AA or the rooms of a 12-step program. And I came across a resource or a group called the Luckiest Club. And I wanted to share that with you today. Everything will be linked in today's show notes, but some things about this club really stood out to me. So, the mission of the Luckiest Club, based on their website, says that they are a dogma free, compassionate place to recover from alcohol addiction and thrive in life. I love that. And it sort of looks like there are three pillars: brave truth seekers, sober badasses, and freedom. And I think if we kind of dissect those, it is, honesty and the bravery that takes. Sober badasses, so sharing our stories and creating a community of like minded people to surround ourselves with, and freedom, the freedom that comes with doing those things, and the burden that's lifted off of our shoulders when we are honest and we do surround ourselves with other sober people. So for brave truth seekers, it says the Luckiest Club exists to guide, encourage, and support brave truth seekers who are looking to embark on a personal journey to sobriety from alcohol. We provide empathetic direction, easy and accessible connection, and a community of like minded swashbucklers. No matter how far along you are in your sobriety adventure, we know that online sobriety help, a talented cast of leaders, and a caring community can make all the difference. So true. Sober badasses, a bit more rebellious than other sobriety groups. We're unabashedly honest, introspective, persistent, brave, and compassionate. We believe sobriety is the greatest adventure you'll ever embark on, and we're here to support you the whole way through. So true. So true. Definitely the greatest adventure, definitely the hardest decision, but definitely the best, most unexpected outcome, and very true in saying it's the greatest adventure. And freedom. Our mission is to spark personal discovery on a quest for freedom. We know that there isn't one correct path to alcohol recovery because we know each person has a unique story and an individual destination. That's so important, an individual destination. It doesn't matter if you're back to day zero or celebrating year 15. An online alcohol free community is here to give strength and rejoice in your human experience. Beautifully said. So you can find the Luckiest Club at theluckiestclub.com. It looks like they have different courses to offer. They have a robust team of leaders. It looks like they have an online meeting schedule that you can choose from, different resources. They've got a merch store. So I wanted to share that as an alternative to a 12-step program. And I hear amazing things from this Luckiest Club, from others in recovery, and this beautiful online recovery community that we share. So check out theluckiestclub.com. Let me know what you think. Call our new voicemail line. Let me know if you looked at the Luckiest Club, if you are a member of the Luckiest Club. I'd love to hear from some of their current members. And to be honest, I think I might reach out and see if I can be a part of the club, and I'll keep you guys posted. I mentioned at the beginning of the episode that Lucy was a writer, a poet, an artist, and shortly before she passed, she wrote one of her best poems or contributions, and I wanted to share that with you today. It is, of course, printed on yellow paper with black ink with a B at the bottom. Lucy, you are greatly missed, my friend, and this one's for you. The decision to face your deepest of fears, the excruciating trauma and distorted thinking, is amongst the most courageous choices you can possibly make, and yet presents the most challenging of circumstances. On one hand, the monumental strength it takes to finally turn and face the darkness and forge through the pain for a chance at change is to be celebrated in of itself. That's only where the journey begins. What comes after that moment of decision? It is the time after the glorious decision that a new sense of fear, doubt, and worry rushes in, trying to keep you stuck. This is where the action needs to happen. To do things differently, and perhaps you'll see the light inside of you that was in you all along. It is here where each of us are truly defined in our ability to use our light to ignite a once opaque path, illuminating the light at the end of the tunnel ourselves. You may make the epic decision and never look back, making achievements, gaining insight, embracing the cringe of change. However, it may take others days, months, or even years until our hypercritical minds grant us the grace to notice the progress made. Achievement, change, and growth looks different in everyone. There will be unimaginable and unexpected twists, turns, feelings, and insights, as any truly captivating odyssey should have. Missteps will happen. Without any indication, we may fall back into our old ways, mistaking familiarity with comfort. Our authentic soul shadowed by deception and bondage of self, tempting us to abandon our higher self and our intrinsic light. You may go so far as to give way to temptation and let the familiarity envelop you like an emotional blanket. The time has come again to shed what keeps us in bondage. Accept the setbacks, as much as it may not feel like it at times. Never forget, even the long pauses between efforts still count. While you may not like how long it took you to regroup and build up the courage to make another attempt, it's still worthwhile and a piece of the journey. There's a lot of wisdom that lives there. In fact, there's a lot of wisdom in the whole thing, no matter the current circumstances or setbacks. If you can find it within you to recognize the only way to win is to quit completely, then somewhere along the line, you will find the courage to begin again. Always begin again, because in every beginning, there is victory. You made the hardest decision of them all, and that counts for something. That counts for a lot. Don't forget that. Never give making a mistake the last laugh. I say again, begin again. Always come back to try again and refuse to let something end on a bad note. Make it right within yourself, whatever it takes. Thanks so much, friends, for listening today and for downloading our episodes. Hopefully, you heard something that resonates with you and inspires you to help others. Check out all of our video interviews at youtube.com/Nate Kelly. You can also find me on all social platforms at Podcast Nate. Please share our podcast with one person in your life who may need it today. Addiction can be so isolating, but just know you are never alone. Lastly, friends, I have a favor to ask. Please rate and review the Sobriety Diaries on whatever platform you're currently listening on. It really helps the show gain new listeners and traction with the algorithm. Just click on our show profile, scroll down to rate and review. It just takes a few seconds. Hit the subscribe button while you're there so you never miss an upload. We're back with new episodes every Wednesday. Remember, everyone has a story. Yours could help save a life. Bye, friends.